I'm alive. I shouldn't be.
He should not be alive. This is unfucking believable.
From the heart of trucker America, my boy Reed Coverdale, host of The Naturalist Capitalist.
This is what government does. It sucks.
If you think you're going to win people over by stating commonplaces, you're just selling the other part.
It is about dictating every transaction that you have for the rest of your life.
Mr. Potato Head.
Coverdale is the guy to be president of the United States.
You intimidated me with your perfect 74 stat.
That was the beginning of my problems.
He died doing what he loved, chasing a minor.
But I'll put a 50 cal attached to my Suburban.
Libertarians need to get out of New York.
The gulag is going to be in your house.
This guy's a fucking murderer. He deserves to be in a dungeon.
Gotta get him out of that truck at night and get him into the White House.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Naturalist Capitalist. This episode we've been planning since I don't even know, November or December or something, but Royce and I have just had so many scheduling issues, and now I'm a few minutes late. Sorry about that tonight, but we finally made it happen against all odds, against God's will, whatever. We're here. But real quick, before we jump into the show, I just want to let you guys know that this show is brought to you by Lions of Liberty. I love these guys, John Odermatt and Brian McWilliams. Brian McWilliams I've gotten to know personally pretty well over the last year or two. I've met him a couple times in person. Done tons of shows with these guys. They've been on mine. I've been on theirs, and we've done lots of networking together over the last couple of years. Lions of Liberty is one of the greatest and longest running libertarian anarchist podcast networks in the world. They were doing this before having a podcast was just a libertarian thing. They've been doing it for a while. On Monday, John Odermatt delivers a powerful mix of inspiration, health, and faith to set your mind, body, and soul free with finding freedom. Every Wednesday, Brian McWilliams will make you laugh at our broken world while providing the promise of a better future with Mean Age Daydream. Friday includes shows like Meme Wars or Hate Watch on their famous Libertarians in Living Rooms drinking liquor episodes. Lions of Liberty is the first step toward freedom. Go check it out. They're on everywhere you can watch. They're on Odyssey, YouTube, all that, and then on all streaming platforms. So go check them out and let them know that I sent you. This is the first time I've been sponsored, so if you let them know that you found out about them through me, that would do a lot for me. So go check them out. Anyway, guys, without any further ado, let's finally bring on Royce Lopez of Revenge of the Sizz. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing? Finally,
I'm good. Yeah, I'm sorry, but my life has been a mess with all the storms and everything, as you know.
Yeah.
But life happens, but we're finally getting it done. So the first time I think we talked was on Tower Gang back in June or something. But then you actually had me on a few months ago when the Meghan McCain tweet blew up from the Libertarian Party in New Hampshire. We were talking about that, and that was a crazy moment, man. And it was a kind of delineating moment. We kind of saw where a lot of people stood. It was a kind of defining moment where people were willing to show whether or not they really hate these people, or if they just talk about how much they don't like them. But then once you say something that's a little too offensive, oh my God, you can't say that. But you guys were definitely firmly in the camp of, yeah, fuck these people. That was
these people are so retarded. I mean, here's the problem. The problem is that shit, dude. First off, I've been podcasting for 14 years. All right, I was doing this before there was a fucking YouTube stream and all that stuff. The shit I used to get away with was fucking wild. Want to talk about the Wild West? So let's start with that. So to me, that was hilarious, and honestly, my head has always been why would someone be mad at that? That's just objectively funny. But people got really pissed, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. These people are so mad. It's all these, bro. The fucking McCain family wouldn't piss on you if you're on fire. So who gives a shit? I hope they fucking all rot in hell. I'm so sick and tired of pretending that these people want to control us and want to fucking control our food and control our entire life in any way deserve any fucking respect. We used to have guillotines, you know that that's an unrelated fact. I'm just saying we did. So these people don't deserve any fucking respect. And the more they do, and the more they try to weasel their way out of it, the more shit they keep. Now they're snitching on each other, which is also hilarious. You know?
Yeah. So, how long have you been doing Revenge of the Sis, and what was that your first podcast, or is that the one you've been doing the whole time, or did you start one solo before that, or how does that all work?
I was doing a comedy podcast, like, I don't know, like, Jesus, 14, 15 years ago. It was it was Hippo Juice. It was just like, you know, current events and shit like that. And I did a couple other different on and off shows like that. And then Mersh was doing his own, my co-host Mersh was doing his own thing. And we kind of just, you know, he was in Florida. We started doing a show together, and it kind of just took off, you know, kind of like political comedy. And that's, you know, kind of what we do. I would always like to say, if you like to find us, we're more comedy than political. Not that we're not political, but honestly, we'll go for the joke more than trying to make some sort of big moral stance on stupid stories. Like, that's the other thing. People take such dumb stances on things that don't matter, you know? So I think that's pretty much describes us in a nutshell. Too many people take this crazy shit too seriously, dude. Fucking seriously, dude. And it's like, do you see everything that's going on right now? Like I said, I'm a firm believer that, like, the one thing, and not like the Andrew Tate Matrix thing, but I'm talking about the actual Matrix. They said it ended in 1999, and I think after that, we're spinning out of control. We're fucking spinning out of control. And at this point, honestly, just give me the steak and leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah, it's funny. I used to always say I'd wish I'd been born like 50 years earlier than I was. But I lately have kind of rescinded that just because it's so entertaining. Like, don't get me wrong, it does suck, and I still often kind of wish I'd been born in like the 40s or something. But at the same time, it's like, man, I get to see all of this shit for free, and it's real, and I'm living through it, and I'm not dead yet. Like, all of that is kind of amazing. You know, you got to kind of look at it in that way, I think, sometimes.
It's the acceleration is the best. That's okay. For me, it's like you know, stuff always changes over time. I mean, that's just how life works. But in the this has been like, we've been speed running this now we're going 100, like, even from 2016, for example, you know, till now. It has gone fucking nuts, bro. Right now, I'm watching a fucking president who has dementia who says it's okay that he had classified documents because they were next to a sweet Corvette. And I'm like, this isn't real life. And then it's also, hey, why do we have so many fucking classified documents? That's a real good question. Why do we need them? What are you guys hiding? And nobody wants to answer it. Instead, people are more fucking enamored with some woman who's pretending to be sex trafficked on Twitter because she probably gave Elon a fucking blowjob.
Yeah, you know, it's fun. I have a vivid memory in 2019 of driving my 94 Toyota pickup down the road, listening to Creedence Clearwater Revival and thinking, God damn, I just wish it was still like as chill as it was in the old days. But right now, like, if it could be as chill as it was in 2019 again, yes. Like, you know, that would be crazy. So, I mean, I can't imagine within a decade when I'm going to be thinking about 2023. Maybe this will be tamed. You know, I don't even want to guess anymore.
I mean, I don't know, man. I'll say this. Ever since I took that fucking clown pill, I've been a lot happier. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm fucking done. I'm done. I'm done, like, sitting here and defending any of these fucking people because they're all the same. At the end of the day, you're like, oh, that guy's great. And then, you know, before you, like, Elon's a great example. And it's not to pick on him, but it's just, you know, Elon's a great example. It's like, oh, great, you're giving speech back. That's so cool. But then, like, a fucking 2 weeks later, you're fucking banning people. So it's like, no one's a hero here. That's what we always say to people on our show. It's like, look, if you make any of these fucking, including us, like fucking heroes, you're an idiot. Yeah. You know, we're content creators. You know, people think that they're making this big change. I'm talking about, you know, streamers, that they're making this like big change and we're changing the world. And at least for me, like, I see us as the, like I said, you know, we're just fucking playing the band while this fucking the USS American experiment sinks, just so, you know, people have something to laugh at. Because at this point, what are you gonna do? You know, even if you want to have a gun now, the fucking president will fucking accost you and say, we have F-15s. And we're like, oh, cool. So you're gonna kill us, I guess. Yeah. That's who we are now. So, you know, you laugh at it. It's more fun than having a Red Dawn situation because we lost Patrick Swayze, so we can't fight that war.
Yeah, you know, it's funny that you say that about having heroes because I have loved following you over the last several months and just seeing your realistic takes compared to what people would want to think. You know, we're looking so badly for a hero that Kevin McCarthy is somehow like a knight in shining armor at this point. It's like, guys, come on. He's like literally wearing a Ukraine lapel and handkerchief while he's running for House Speaker, you know, and saying America first, and he doesn't even have an American flag on his. You know, I didn't think it was going to be this cartoonish in the end times. You know, I thought, you know, I thought it was I thought it was always a little, you know, a little exaggerated about how everything would turn out. And I was like, no, come on, like it'll be a little bit subtle. We won't be able to see it that easily. And this is like, it's like we're in a movie. Yeah. And you know, I mean, I can't believe it.
Every day I wake up and sit on the toilet to take a shit, and I go on fucking Twitter, and I'm always like, what? Like, there's always something. I'm like, what happened now? How is that even possible? And it's things are getting so fucking absurd. And look, I understand it's sad, and I understand eggs cost more than lap dances. I get that, man. I understand all that, and that's fucking sad. I don't mean to laugh, but I'm just laughing in a way of like this, like, you're right. We all expected like a Terminator, you know, apocalypse, right? Like, you know, right. Fucking Skynet. And in the end, what we got is all the people that we should have shoved in lockers, making us take vaccines and fucking blowing up food processing plants. And we're here like, oh, fuck, go Eagles. Whatever. Fucking whatever. And that's what it's, just laugh at it, right? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like they almost took the approach of, okay, if we go down the middle, people will be suspicious. So we have to either be really good at hiding everything, or we just have to be so out in the open about it that no one would even think we'd actually dare to be this fucking dumb. And they're just kind of second guessing themselves. Like, no, they wouldn't really do it like this. Really? Because, and then they just found out they weren't good at hiding stuff and just went with the obvious route to try to, you know, gaslight us. And I mean, because I have heard people react to what's going on just saying like there's no way they would be this open about it, you know, there's no way that they would, I mean, there's no way that the people in charge are this dumb or that they're this gullible or something. But I don't know, I mean, they are, and it's always like a mix of like, are they dumb or are they evil or are they both, and you know, both. Where on the line do they fall?
Dumb people can be evil, right? Yeah. Like, but it's also willful ignorance. I think a lot of it is that. I mean, evil is I think, like, if you really think about it, like even in the most well-written movies or books, right? Like, the bad guys don't think they're evil. Like, they never do. The most evil people never think that they're evil. I really do think that they think that what they're doing is right. I think that, you know, I'm not saying that they're not also corrupt or whatever, but I think that they justify it in their head, you know, by saying like, oh, well, you know, Nancy Pelosi's a great example. It's like, oh, well, I could insider trade, you know, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to stop climate change or fucking some dumb shit she's making up. And I think I really do think they justify it. But I think the problem is like, you're finding these people that even since we were kids, like, I'm not pretending like it hasn't always been fucking terrible. It has. And when I'm talking about corruption and everything, but Reed, bro, you got to agree with me. They used to at least try with their propaganda, and they're not trying anymore. Like, they used to go like, bro, the things they used to do to make you believe stuff, like I at least respected that. Like, at least they respected my intelligence enough to go, we got to make this shit look real as possible. But now it's just like, no, Pfizer didn't say that. You're fucking retarded. But look, it says it right here. You're banned now. Shut up, stupid. And you're like, oh, cool. All right, so fuck me, I guess. And that's what it is now. It's like, bro, if at least, dude, they used to give us bread and circus. Now they're just giving you vaccines and fucking voluntary suicide. Here you go, have fun. I'm like, oh, cool. I just wanted eggs. That's all I wanted. But I guess, you know, help, you complain about the price of eggs in Canada, and they go, hi, this is Canada. Would you like us to fucking kill you? Sure, why not? I'd prefer to have a job, but I guess, you know, kill me, I guess.
Dude, one of the most amazing 180s was the whole frontline workers thing, right? In like 2020, they were the heroes, and they even had these memes of like all the the Marvel superheroes like bowing in the hallway as the doctor and the the truck driver and the whatever were walking down, and then a year later it's like, fuck you, you're fired if you don't jab this in your body right now. And it's like, wait a second, wait a minute, I thought it.
And by the way, let me be clear here. I think you should be allowed to fucking kill yourself. I'm not one of those fucking fags. Like, say, it's your life, man. Do whatever you want. I think if you have kids and stuff and you do it, that's kind of selfish. That's my opinion. But do whatever the fuck you want. But that being said, I also don't want a situation where the government is recommending it because they can't get you a stair lift upstairs, which is a real thing that happened in Canada. You know what I mean? Or it's like you saw that story, right? Where the woman was she was a in the Paralympics, like, so it's not like she was like really like dying, she just didn't have legs, and she qualified for a program where they would give her like a stair lift, you know, to go up her house. And I guess it was backlogged, and she was calling and complaining, and she was like, look, I just wanted to, the guy goes, you know, ma'am, now we offer, and they offered the suicide thing, and she was like, I just wanted a stair lift. And I think that's where that's the stuff that bugs me, where now it's just become a feasible option instead of, you know, leaving people the fuck alone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing too, is so many people who just wanted to be left alone, didn't want to go down all these rabbit holes, didn't want to like start. I mean, I didn't want to think any of the stuff that I know about the government now. Like, it's not comforting, you know, it's not, it's a lot. People don't realize, or I think people do realize, but some of the people who haven't looked into this at all, they think that I want to just like have the worst possible beliefs about everything that's taking place. It's like, no, like I miss the days of being a George W. Bush fan. Like, those days were awesome. It was just like, yeah, let's go kick those terrorists' ass, and, you know, we'll straighten everything out or whatever. And
we put a boot in your ass. Yeah, I remember that, bro. And we all remember that. We all remember that weird dopamine rush. And I know it's now looking back at the time, but looking back, there was a weird dopamine rush after 9/11 where everyone loved each other, except for Muslims. But everyone except for them. And then, you know, in the end, we realized it wasn't even that big of their fault, and we were just pretty stupid. But I miss that too. Like, I miss the days, at least, like I said, at least when they tried to lie to us before, it kind of felt like it was two different people fighting for their morals. But now it's a uniparty. Now nothing fucking matters anymore. You know, and that's what I said. I said the same thing too. Like, I've always been like politically, and you know, I've always been, I was a Ron Paul 2012 guy, man, like big time. You know, that was my thing. I still do. But then, you know, the fucking Libertarian Party got away from itself with the whole George Jorgensen thing and the Black Lives Matter. So I'm like, fuck you guys too. And I was like, this is kind of cringe. So then, you know, you look at the whole Trump thing, and Trump let everyone fucking down. There's another loser. And it's everybody. I think for the most part, I think most people at the end of the day, except for like a very small amount of people, kind of want to just be left alone and be able to afford food. And I think we're getting to the point now where we're not arguing about dumb shit like we used to, about like, you know, oh, you know, what's how many days off should kids have at school, and what's a better learning thing, and, you know, little dumb shit. And now I think the real issue is like when we start arguing about, are we gonna have food? That's lizard brain shit. Like, that's not, am I going to have a community pool shit where you go, you can still get by without that. If we get to that point, man, I don't know what's going to happen. And I don't know what the end, well, I think I know what the end game is, what they're doing in Davos, but I don't know if it's going to go the way they think it's going to go in terms of, you know, I don't know how fucking fortified their fortresses are. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, we're getting to that point where food isn't affordable anymore. And, you know, I think you are also getting, you know, you're getting the people who went along with the vaccine stuff, especially with the ones who went along with it with their kids because they believed it was what you had to do, and then found out that wasn't actually the case.
Yeah.
You know, when you're lied to and you make a decision about your kids and then you find out that it wasn't the right decision, you know, that can be pretty alarming to a lot of people. And all I could say is it's good that we have people who stand for truth, who are real true knights in shining armor, like Steven Crowder, who are willing to stand up against the machine. What do you think?
You're such an asshole. You're such a fucking asshole. Yeah, I know you're right. Yeah, Mud Club, fucking what a fucking these grifters. Let me tell you something about this, and this is just because I like my knife. I'm not making any threats.
Yeah,
I use like a fidget spinner. I'm telling you, we years ago. We were talking about Crowder and saying he's a grifting piece of shit. And now a lot of people now who have turned on him were telling us that we were crazy. He's actually fighting for this and fighting for that. He ain't fighting for fucking shit. All right. None of these people are. Daily. And by the way, that doesn't mean I think Daily Wire's right. Daily Wire's evil. You want to talk about evil? Daily Wire's evil. Okay. And I think outright evil. I think that a lot of this stuff they're doing is more dangerous than some of the fucking shit that they claim, the left is also doing, by the way. But they're just doing it, they're just wrapping it in a different package. But it's the same fucking shit. It's the same playbook. It's all the same stuff. But Steven Crowder is a fucking grifter. Steven Crowder pretending it's not about the money, but then also leaving out that he asked for 30 million more. That's also fucking bullshit. Steven Crowder, for somebody who's Mr. Free Speech and Intrusive Contacts, has poor not gay Jared, who I know from 100% certainty can't say shit because he made him sign an NDA, a really big NDA, and he underpays his fucking employees. So, and he also said, by the way, the funniest part was he needed all that money. Ooh, this money because of the fucking shitty parody music videos he makes. He's a fucking hack. Steven Crowder is a hack. He's done nothing but be a hack. And by the way, the problem is Steven Crowder was part of the whole big con thing that he came up with, that he registered before he started his little fake crusade. He was part of it. And then what happened is that he got kicked out of the fucking treehouse. And then he's like, oh, I'm going to show you. You're the same as them. It's the same thing you said at the beginning. The same like McCarthy, who's now, hello, my fellow groypers. Fuck off, McCarthy. Suck my dick, And that's exactly what this is. It's like, yeah, right. I'm also a freedom. Bro, watch. Next thing you're going to see out of Crowder, mark my words, some light JQ stuff. Watch. Fucking mark my words. It's not going to be crazy. It's not going to get him canceled, but it's going to be light because he's going to test the water because that's what he is. That's exactly what he is. He plays to the crowd. And the problem is all his boomer audience is starting to die, and you can only sell so many stupid mugs. And what do you have left? Really? You think fucking cool Zoomers are gonna fucking start listening to Crowder? Get the fuck out of here. To what? Hear a fucking Kiss parody about COVID? You fucking hack. Sorry, I hate that guy.
Yeah, no, it's amazing watching people just fall for extremely obvious shit. I mean, what they do is they there's a super low bar for anyone who seems like someone who's breaking from any sort of official narrative or any sort of line of thought or, party allegiance or anything like that. And so people are just ready for a hero. Like I was saying, like you said with McCarthy earlier. But I mean, the biggest thing is just acting like he hasn't been part of Big Con this whole time. Like all his allegiances, everything he stood for as long as I've been listening to him. And I don't know, man. Like it's just depressing more than anything. Watching everybody just fall in line with it, and it's just like I like the approach you have. That it's not really about, like you were saying earlier, that a lot of streamers have this idea that they're somehow saving the world or something, and you can't think that way. Like even if you are making a difference in some people's lives or whatever, like that can't be the goal, because if it is, you're just going to end up massively disappointed because you're basically trusting in the idea of democracy, like the idea of people changing on a massive basis in order to, change the outcome of something. And it's just not going to happen. People are going to continue to be stupid because it's just easier, and it's easier to make them feel better about themselves. So you can't wait for them to come around. There's just no way.
Well, Reed, I know that there's actual other hero that you look up to, and that's that Matt Walsh guy who wants to fucking kill drug dealers because the airport in Singapore's nice. If we want to talk about a Daily Wire hack, there's one who is like, we should murder drug dealers and beat people with sticks because Singapore has a tiny airport. Okay, Matt, Sure, bud. Why not? And by the way, Matt Walsh, you fucking hack. The same government that's every day he bitches about this government. Every day it's disband the FBI. January 6th people are blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, oh, cool. So you want that same government who made people get fucking vaccinated. You want them to be responsible for who lives and dies? That sounds like a great idea, Matt. Good, do that. I don't know what a woman is, Matt, but I know what a fucking hack is, and it's you. Sorry, I'm smoking. I hate that guy too.
No, I do too. I mean, that's the problem is people can't realize it's all a show. You know, it's got to be like this guy's good against the machine who's bad, and they don't realize that often. I mean, when your expectations and your bar is set so low, it's very easy to create a false hero. But this isn't just happening with Crowder and the Daily Wire. This is happening with like DeSantis and Trump, and I'm seeing like Laura Loomer and Roger Stone and like all these people come out on different sides of this. And it seems like the whole right wing is kind of having a little civil war.
Oh, yeah.
What is your take on this whole thing? Do you think it's just growing pains because, you know, things haven't been going well the last couple of years, or like what's going on over there?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, specifically, what do I think is happening? I think that there is something of a trying to push the neocons out a bit because, look, that's, if my opinion, the biggest issue in that fucking not that there's any saving grace of any party at this point, in my opinion, but the biggest problem and how about this? The most dangerous part of the Republican Party is the neocon part in terms of massive war, like that kind of shit. You know, when you talk about stuff that has real fucking consequences, they're the most dangerous. And I think there is a pushback of people trying to push them out. Not saying that all those people are great that are trying to push them out, but at least you have some people that are like, listen, motherfucker, we're going to figure out this fucking money in Ukraine is going. We got to figure out what the fuck Pfizer did. And this is going to be a fucking cakewalk anymore. And I that's a good thing. I think any transparency like that is good. I think releasing, look, regardless of what's happening, I think basically holding up what Matt Gaetz said, holding up that vote until fucking they release the January. Now they're going to release the January 6th footage, by the way, because of it. And that was a fucking big deal to me too, which is, I don't care who's in charge. That shit needs to come out. I want to know what the fuck happened, you know, because I don't trust any of these fuckers, you know, and I think that is kind of what's happening. Look at today. Wasn't fucking Trump talking shit about DeSantis? And I think it's kind of funny because this back and forth between all of this. Well, first off, that being said, DeSantis is not saying anything. I think it's calculated, obviously, but it just makes Trump look stupider. Oh, yeah. It's like, no one's even fighting with you. Shut the fuck up. I'm not saying he's not going to run. He might have to debate at some point, but it's like, why are you wasting your ammo now, stupid? Like, this isn't Pocahontas you're going up against, you know? Yeah. This is somebody on your side, so you can't treat him like Hillary Clinton, you know? But that being said, it's like, at the same time, you know, you see Trump's talking about, I'm going to drain the fucking swamp. And then he's taking a picture with Lindsay so deep in the closet, he's finding Christmas presents, Graham, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, okay, fine. All these people are compromised. I believe that to the bottom, to the level. But my thing is like, I want anything. I can't live in a perfect world, but I guess I want anything to get a couple more good years out. And if that means the government being in gridlock is good. I always say that. If the government can stay in gridlock for indefinitely, I'm happier than any. I'm not saying that's the best solution, but at least you can't fuck it up more, right? Like, I understand getting the bull out of the house doesn't fix the damage, but it stops breaking something more. So I'm a bigger opponent of that. So if there's going to be infighting, good. If it makes these people fucking stop sending money to Ukraine, which isn't going to happen, but that would be fucking great too. If it makes it stop sending money, and that's the other thing. It's like, you think these parties are that separate, but go look at the way they vote on money for Israel and look at the way they vote for money in Ukraine. See how different they really are. They're really not. You know, fucking Trump, take away the guns first and due process later, bump stock banning guy, Operation Warp Speed. Get the fuck out of here. You know, it's a popularity contest. And what's Trump gonna do? Trump's not gonna win again. Ain't no fucking way. That guy cannot win again. No way Trump wins again. I don't think that it's going to happen. So honestly, the best you could hope for, and I always say this, is locally. Get the people that affect your day-to-day life. Local elections are more important than federal ones. State elections mean more to you, and they always will, because they affect my fucking property taxes, and they affect that kind of shit. Federal stuff, at the end of the day, look, at the end of the day, states stopped federal governments.
Yep.
Couple of them stopped federal governments from doing shit that they would want to do. And that's why that was more important. States saying like, no, we're not going to fuck you and your vaccine mandates. We ain't doing it. Stop them. Because if it wasn't for two or three governors, that would have probably happened, you know?
Yeah.
If there wasn't any pushback, it wasn't for governors suing the federal government. And I think that at the end of the day, I think COVID exposed that, by the way. I think the one thing that COVID exposed and something that if you are someone that believes in the power of the fucking state over the fucking federal government, it exposed how important local government was. Because how many cities had these weird ordinances that they never used, but they were in the history books and they could close bars down whatever they wanted. Like that happened in a lot of places where they had these little towns that the ordinance were like draconian, for like the mayor in a time of stuff could like shut all essential services down and close private businesses down and do whatever they wanted. And people were like, well, we can't vote for that person again, obviously. But that exposed a lot of how important that is. And honestly, how not that powerful the federal government is if enough states push back.
Yeah, no, you're speaking my language right now, man. That's why I moved back to New Hampshire, actually. I mean, New Hampshire, like Florida, where you live, initially they didn't react the way I was hoping. Initially, basically nowhere other than South Dakota did. South Dakota was kind of the only place that really did it right. But the reaction to it in New Hampshire was more of like a legislature thing, where in Florida was your governor, but in New Hampshire, the legislature basically made it illegal for a lockdown to ever happen again. They took that power away from the governor. And then, you know, just seeing the moves New Hampshire's made since then. I was living in Utah, and Utah wasn't awful. There's certainly worse places I could live. But in about a year ago, you know, Utah was talking about banning pornography on cell phones. Like that was near the top of their list. I was just like, what? Like, why is this
Mormons,
even what we're
baby?
talking about?
Mormons, baby.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And then New Hampshire was, you know, they were debating a bill on whether or not they should be allowed to secede from the union. And I was like, okay, guys, like one of these is clearly, you know, more in the right direction. And so I moved back because I was like, yeah, I mean, it's 100% what you said. The federal government is always going to suck. And, you know, I've supported, like, I Rand Paul, and then like, you know, libertarian candidates. I supported Tulsi Gabbard when she was running for president. It just doesn't matter. Like anybody good at all just gets completely crushed by the machine.
Yeah.
And then if they start to get close, then they start, you know, they start compromising everything good about them. That's what's, you know, like, I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene, seeing her just full on sell out for McCarthy, and just, you know, I loved what Matt Gaetz did, like pressuring him, like saying, hey, if you want my vote, you got to do this, this, and this. And she was up there like, no, we need to knock this off and we need to get behind him right now. And I never thought I would have seen that coming, you know, with her, because she was always kind of the rebel who was pushing against that type of shit. But then she was right up there cheerleading him.
Because Trump told her. I mean, because remember, the same day she said that was the same day Trump said, McCarthy's the greatest guy in the world, even though he backstabbed me 500 times. And you're like, yeah, okay, great job. Good thing. And, you know, going back to what you said, like, that's the thing. Like, you know, like Florida's a good example of like, I liked a lot of the stuff that, and you're right. And 100%, except for Dakota, like, even Florida shut down for like a month, you know, when it was like, and then to his credit, he was like, we're done now. And even when local cities were trying to give fines, like Miami-Dade was still pretty liberal at the time. DeSantis, to his credit, said, yeah, that's fine. You have the power to give them those fines, but the money goes to the state. We're not collecting. So you could give people fines for not wearing a mask if you want, but they don't have to pay it, and basically cut them at the knees from having to do that. And he's also the same one that told cruise ships, like, you go fuck yourself. You're not going to make people get vaccinated. That ain't going to happen. So obviously there's things you could criticize. Like, I really do not like DeSantis' stance on Israel and the BTS. So I hate that kind of shit. Like, that stuff is that to me is one of the bigger flaws. But that being said, if you're also going to fight people so they don't have to get fucking injected to have a job, man, I'm behind that, you know? And then I think, like, you know, you brought it up earlier. Like, I think that there's some people at the beginning of this, right, of the pandemic shit and the vaccine stuff, that took the vaccine and because they felt like they had no choice. I know people that took the vaccine because they felt like they had no choice. And I honestly feel bad for those people. I think I think sometimes those people get vilified, and I think it's unfair because I think that some people were in impossible situations. Some people had families that would have lost their job, corporations, and what do you do? And I get it. But I think now, if you're still getting shit, or even you're crazy. You know what I mean? And I think it's and I think like the moment, and we were saying this on our show from the beginning, we got a lot of shit, by the way, at the very beginning when this pandemic stuff came out, because day one we were like, no, we're not locking down. I don't care if it's for 2 weeks, 2 days, 2 seconds. We can't do this. This is gonna get worse. And a lot of people that are supposedly based at the beginning we're all like, oh no, this is serious. This is for real. And I go, I don't care if it's serious or for real. What I care about is that governments never stop. They never stop. If you give them power, they will never, ever, ever stop, because they're a machine that consumes everything and provides you with basically nothing. Well, debt. They provide you with debt. That's not true. They do provide you with a lot of debt. But that to me really, really showed like, dude, there needs to be some sort of backstop to this, because this could have gotten really bad. And Trump could have got rid of Fauci. He didn't. He was praising him at one point. Okay. So at the end of the day, right now, between DeSantis and fucking Trump, if you tell me who do I want? Well, I want the guy that to this day is not saying the vaccine saved the billion lives. I saved every single person on the planet with my magical vaccine that's making kids' hearts explode. So, yeah, no, sorry. I got too many fucking medical misinformation strikes for me to sit there and say, hey, no, this is all fine. This is all great. And by the way, the Trump administration also met with fucking Twitter. People seem to forget that. The difference is they told him to go fuck off, but he also tried to censor some fucking COVID stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing to me that like people like Laura Loomer or like Roger Stone, like they do call DeSantis out on a lot of the stuff that he really sucks on, like foreign policy and whatever. Sure. But then they'll just completely turn a blind eye on Trump, on everything he's done, and the fact that he was campaigning with Lindsey Graham, yesterday. It's just, bro, like,
I gotta tell you, Reed, I'd rather take 1,000 Jeb Bushes than one Lindsey Graham, because honestly, Jeb Bush is no teeth. What does he do? What's he gonna do? Nothing. No one likes the guy.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, God, it's just sad where we are right now.
Well, and that's true, because a lot of the people like Laura Loomers, we've had Laura on our show, and the Roger Stones and stuff like that, they will sit there and not only turn a blind eye about that, but they were complaining about the COVID stuff. But then when you bring up Mr. Warp Speed is still Captain Warp Speed is still talking about how great it is, then they go, well, what's he supposed to do? I disagree with him on that. I'm like, no, but that's not a little thing to disagree on, right? That's not like a 0.2% in the deficit disagreement where people are like, look, we agree to disagree. That's a fucking people's lives were ruined. And I think it's like here's the real reason. I think a lot of these people you hang on his coattails, right? And what do you have if you let go? You have nothing, right? And I think they need Trump to be successful for them to be successful. You know what I mean? Look, say whatever you fucking want, but I will always give credit to Ann Coulter. Because for one thing, she said fuck off and left, and she didn't need to. And I'm like, you know what, good for you. I'm gonna give you credit for that one. You have credit for that one. And I think a lot of them are very, very worried. But I think what's starting to happen is that Trump's name doesn't carry as much weight as it used to, and it really doesn't. And people can lie to themselves if they want to, but it really doesn't. And you could do that. But what are you going to do after that? You don't have a long-term plan here, because if your entire infrastructure is based on fucking MAGA hats, I'd be worried now too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad it all has played out the way it has, frankly, the Trump thing. Like, I think, I didn't appreciate it for what it was in 2016. It was more like after 2020 that I really realized, like, oh, okay, I get it now. Like, I understand why this all had to happen. So the whole savior complex with Trump leading to this, where it is now, I think has been really eye-opening for a lot of people. who didn't already have that philosophy that you and I have of like not trusting anybody and thinking everything's a joke anyway. Because I mean, that was a cult for a lot of people, like almost like a religious level of cultishness. And for the people to see him kind of stab them in the back, I think was an important step. And people like, see, I prefer a dissident right wing, at least these days. Maybe 20 years ago it was different, but these days, like, the left is just so retarded and so far gone. Like this idea that they're going to ever snap out of the trance they're in for the foreseeable future is just a joke. And I don't even care if a lot of them do at this point, because fuck them, because they've ruined our lives over the last couple of years anyway, where a lot of people on the right, you know, like if they get snapped out of their trance, like they can actually be weaponized in a good way. So as much as it's been tough going through the growing pains, I've enjoyed watching all this turmoil on the right take place, because it has made people aware of how much everything sucks, I guess.
Well, I think it's good. I think it's good. I think sometimes the Everglades needs to burn, for example, to use something from here, you know, for it to regrow. I mean, that's how it is. And I don't know, man. Maybe it'll be a net game. Maybe it'll be some more people that are maybe that kind of. Maybe it's like you said about the Matt Gaetz thing. You know, I don't agree with Matt Gaetz about everything, but have more balls than other people. He says, "I'm fuck you. I'm not doing it. I ain't doing it." And that we need to see that more. Like, and not only, by the way, that whole Matt Gaetz standing up thing, that was rough. That was good to see for two reasons. Number one, the left was using it as a cudgel. Like, look at the Republicans; they can't get it together. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This is the best thing a Republican's done in a long time. Like, honestly, I was like, this is awesome. Like, fuck, finally, somebody's telling me, shut the fuck up and listen for a second. These people don't care about what your Ukraine shit. There's some real fucking problems. And I think that was a bigger stance of like, look, at the end of the day, did I know McCarthy was always going to be speaker? Of course. If you didn't think that, you're crazy.
Right.
But if he conceded on some stuff, man, it goes to show you that if you just sit there and don't go with it, like at the end of the day, I'd rather have CNN bitching about Matt Gaetz being like, can you believe the craziness? And I'm like, are you kidding me? This is what needs to happen. This craziness should be the norm. And the fact that it doesn't happen on the left is really more of an indictment on them at this point, where talk about a uniformed party. Talk about a fucking, give them credit. Not that I hate them, but to give them credit, well-oiled machine. They work they work in uniform and in goose step. Like they do. And that being said, look at where they are now. You know, I mean, look at where they're at now. You know, there's fucking people are getting hammered at lemon parties, and we're fucking sitting here and pretending like that was normal. But you know, at the end of the day, I think it's a good thing. I think that I want to see it happen more often. I think that there needs to be a healthy distrust of the government. I always bet against the government, and sometimes I'm wrong. Don't get me wrong, but you know what? I got a big winning percentage.
Yeah.
I really do. If blindly bet against them, you will win. Treat the government like Jim Cramer. Do the opposite of what they say, and you're going to be ahead. Because that's what they are at this point. Anytime they say something, anytime somebody, and the right does it a lot too. Like we brought up the Matt Walsh thing. The right does it all the fucking time. Where they go, the government, we need a smaller government, but also we need to execute drug dealers. No, wait a second. Like it's like either we need a small government, period, or you want the government to kill people. There's no middle ground there. Not in my opinion. There's no middle ground there, you know? And at the fucking end of the day, and that's the other thing, the right wing needs to get and that's something even when I was fucking more conservative than I say I will call myself now, when I had some hope in my heart, as it were. Even I never am one of those thin blue line people. Never have been, because these fucking boomers, I say it all the time. It's like, who do you think's gonna take your guns, you fucking retards? You know, and that's something they need to pay attention to. And then at the end of the day, it's what do you have? What do you have? You have them beating up a guy on the street because now my theory is I think they were involved in a gang, but that's just me. But really, and they get immunity, and they get I think that the thin blue line stuff, and also the military hero worship, and I get a lot of shit for that, is a problem. I do believe that there's people in the military that are heroes, But I don't think that if somebody dies protecting an oil field, that calling them a hero is an excuse for letting that happen. And I think that's the problem. I think a lot of people are getting wise to that too. They look at the military recruitment numbers. I think more people now are like, no, thanks.
Yeah,
I'd rather not, you know. But I think that at the end of the day, people need to fucking take care of themselves. Leave me alone. I know what's fucking better for me. And I think that I'm also somebody that I'm not one of those people that's like, look, can we just get rid of all police? I don't think that's feasible either. But I also think that we'll get sheriffs that fucking understand your right to fucking bear arms and leave you alone. Look, say I live in Polk County, right? So I do have Grady Judd. There's some stuff of him I don't like, but there's some stuff that I do like. And that was during the fucking George Floyd thing. He said, well, you're in Florida, goddammit. You have guns. If someone just walks through your doorstep, you shoot them out. And I'm like, deal.
Yeah.
Fucking deal. All right, you know what? Fair enough. Deal. And I think that's the kind of stuff where you kind of have to, you know, be allowed to protect yourself, because at the end of the day, man, these cops, look at the corruption that comes out, and they fucking take care of themselves. And look, man, 1 or 2 cops for 7 or 6 or 7 cops beating a dude up, that's something else, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, I don't like how they idolize George Floyd, because he was no fucking saint.
Mm-hmm.
But I also do not like the way they fucking idolize police officers. Like, you know, if you really want to get into that, they have a very, you know what profession has the highest percentage of domestic violence?
Police officers.
Yep. So that's a problem, you know, and you got to punch something, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't endorse that. I'm just saying that's the mentality, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
Man, they used to let us punch minorities. Now I have to punch my wife. Fuck.
Yeah. The
goddamn cancel culture. Ruined something else of mine.
They take everything from you.
Honey, why do you keep punching me? Blame the goddamn liberal woke mob. Sean Hannity says it's their fault. He has 3 cop pins and a CIA pin.
Oh yeah, and he's taking on the deep state, Sean Hannity.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, the cop thing. You know what's so crazy about it is, like, look at what happened in the 2020 riots. Like, look what happened to the McClowskis, like how they were treated for not even shooting anybody, just, you know, for standing on their lawn with guns.
Right.
You know, if you are criminalized for, you know, exercising your constitutional rights, what good is law enforcement? You know, like that's what a lot of people missed.
No, absolutely. It's like, again, man, it's all a fucking racket. I mean, and at the end of the day, it's everything is if and this is me myself that day, but this is a simple one. What if everything was fake and gay all along? And that's what it is. Everything is everything is some sort of fucking Ponzi scheme. But I think at this point we've gone beyond money, where it's just some sort of weird fucking power play and control. And at the end of the day, it's going to be a bunch of fucking billionaires in Davos that are going to decide if we have food next year. I mean, you know, and if the cops tell them to come and take your fucking corn, they're going to come and take it. So, you know, just make sure you're in a state where you can fucking protect yourselves. All I'm going to say is in Florida, a lot of people have gotten off because cops came in, didn't announce themselves, and they killed the cop. And they're like, look, you didn't announce yourself. We have a castle doctrine. You're sorry. I won't tell you, you know, protect yourself. Because I worry, like I said, we mentioned at the beginning, to circle back to that. I worry when it's not about little things, when it's about food and when it's about that kind of stuff, how wild it's gonna get. And I don't think people are fucking prepared for that. I don't think the Matt Walshes of the world are prepared for the world that he thinks he could live in, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's what you're saying earlier, like, worry about local stuff, worry about your state, worry about your sheriff. Like, so many people don't know who their sheriff is, or, you know, they'll just vote blindly on the ballot, never actually research the guy at all. Like that. I mean, a sheriff could basically countermand everybody above him. People don't realize that. Like, a sheriff, regardless of who your congressman, senator, governor are, it all comes down to your sheriff, like what he's willing to enforce and people don't realize that, and that that's a real game changer.
Every once in a while, you'll have it's happening in Illinois too. A couple of more rural sheriffs said, "I'm not enforcing your assault rifle ban. I'm not going to do it. I refuse." And what are you going to do? Are you going to fight the sheriff?
Yeah.
And you're right, absolutely. And it really all comes down to what they want, what they want to do. And that is a big thing. Get someone that's going to go, fuck you. No, I'm not going to do that. And even if it's for that, I mean, what's the end game, man? It's going to be a bloodbath. There's no way to do it. And people pussyfoot around that shit. But when push comes to shove, it's not going to be fucking pretty. And the end result is not something you're going to be able to show on TV and say, yay, look, the government's the good guys. It's just not going to fucking happen, because before you know it, they're going to be killing somebody holding a baby,
Yeah.
And the government would never do that, right?
No, never. Not alive.
Yeah, fucking right.
Alive, yeah.
Fucking seriously. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Maybe Ted Kaczynski was right. Not about the bombs, not the bombing and killing people stuff, but the philosophy.
Just like literally everything else, basically.
Everything else, though. I mean, yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, I always, I'd always kind of just heard that joke and just kind of laughed at it, but then I went and read his manifesto, and I was like,
it's not bad.
It's kind of on point with a lot of this stuff.
You're like, oh god, this is not good.
Yeah, I mean, I want to live in a world where Ted Kaczynski was wrong. That's the type of world I want to live in. But
yeah, well, here we fucking are, bro. We have a dementia president. The world is fucking falling apart, and people can't afford food. So, I mean, like I said, on hey, wheat's cheaper now. There you go. Hey, wheat's cheaper. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Here we are. You might as well laugh as the clown car goes by.
Yeah.
Not much you could do, and don't trust anybody. I like the vibes that we came out of this podcast with. So Royce, where can people follow you, keep up with you? I've got your Twitter and your Rumble page linked. I know you guys don't do YouTube anymore, right?
We put some like clips up on YouTube still, because obviously we want the channel to have something, but for the most part, we are now exclusively streaming on Rumble. And I'm not saying this out of any other reason, not because I get paid to say it. I mean, Rumble has been fucking awesome in terms of letting us say stuff that we were literally getting banned on YouTube. And that has been fucking great. The numbers have been great. So that has been it's been so refreshing to sit there, because man, for a while there, especially during the medical misinformation stuff, like we would have to say stuff without saying it. Kind of work around it, because we got a lot of strikes, man. We were at one point our channel was almost gone.
Yeah.
And we got a strike, and this is not a lie, and it's one strike that I've always referred to. We got a strike on YouTube for cyberbullying Jeffrey Epstein after he died.
Same, like not on my channel, but I got someone else's channel a strike for doing that exact same thing.
Right? That's super fucking weird,
Yeah.
And so it's been good there. So yeah, Revenge of the Sis on Rumble, and then @HippoJuiceFilm is my Twitter. And I mean that's pretty much it, man. This is a lot of fun, dude. I had a lot of fun. I'm glad we finally got to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like it was not within God's will for it to happen there for a while. Just like thing after storm after storm after storm, but against all odds, we did it, and love to do it again, man.
Oh yeah.
And if I'm ever down in Florida, we'll definitely have to come. We'll have to go hang out somewhere, and that'll be awesome.
Absolutely. So. If I'm ever in the beautiful state of New Hampshire, we will hang out.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you should come to Pork Fest or something, man. That would be.
Awesome. Like I said, we're down. Like I said, I already announced it, and so did Mersh. Like we're in. I am now. I will not vote for fucking Trump. Well, I'm a libertarian now, homeboy. I'm fucking done, and I mean that. And in the purest sense of the word, like, who's gonna leave me alone? Because that's the guy I like. Leave me alone, and you got my vote. I'm really simple. I'm easy to please. You leave me alone, and you leave me alone, and you fucking turn your head and you mind your own fucking business. You got my vote. That's all I want. Pretty simple.
Should be a pretty low threshold, but unfortunately, it's not most of the time. So, all right, man. Well, thanks for joining me, everyone. Go check them out. Got the links listed in the description, and go check out Lions of Liberty. Let them know that I sent you. And I don't have another episode planned for this week, but I'll let you guys know when I got something coming up. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next stream.
Take it easy.